Archangel Michael says, the clock is already turning its hidden gears and the air has shifted. Archangel Michael says, a corridor of time has narrowed to a single radiant doorway. Archangel Michael says, step forward without hesitation because the vault is listening for your footsteps. You are standing at the edge of a divine audit that favors your name. Pages you never signed are being rewritten to carry your true signature. Silent rooms in heaven whisper that the delay is over and the seal is loosening. 30 minutes is not a threat, it is a covenant of precision. It means the exact alignment of events is now compressed into a golden window. It means nothing else has the right to distract you from this unfolding. A vault was spoken over your life before your first heartbreak carved its lesson. It was numbered and measured, even when others measured you wrongly. It was assigned to you with a ledger of mercy that erases counterfeit debts. You once watched doors close and wondered whether doors remembered your name. Those doors were rehearsals for a moment designed to never forget you. This is that moment, and it has arrived dressed like destiny in daylight. A guardian ledger records what you endured without bitterness. It records how you held the line when rumors tried to pull you apart. It records the way you kept faith private when storms made noise in public. The vault recognizes that frequency and turns toward it like a sunflower to light. It hears the cadence of your patience and calls it the key. It hears your quiet courage and calls it the code. You will feel a pressure in the air as if history inhales and holds. You will sense the hush that comes before a curtain rises. You will know the difference between coincidence and choreography. Some people tried to copy your map while mocking your compass. They are now discovering a map without your heart cannot find your treasure. The vault is not open for imitation because it knows the warmth of the true owner's hands. The first hinge is obedience to the inner nudge that feels like clarity. The second hinge is refusal to negotiate with fear that arrives as advice. The third hinge is deciding that your name is worthy of clean abundance. This money is not a trophy, it is a tool that remembers your purpose. It is capital that carries healing, rebuilding, and restoration in its arithmetic. It is wealth that understands responsibility before celebration. A corridor of resistance will try to appear in the next few breaths. It will show you old debts, old shadows, and old doubts wearing new costumes. Walk through them as mist because mist cannot hold a door shut. Your preparation is simple and profound in the same heartbeat. Stand up and square your shoulders so alignment can find your spine. Open your hands to prove to the universe you are not clenching scarcity. Name the rooms that will be healed by this release. Name the faces that will smile because famine ended. Name the projects that will move from blueprint to building. The vault is not hidden in a far country, it is hidden in right timing. Right timing is the shortest distance between preparation and miracle. Right timing is the mathematics of mercy applied to your calendar. You once felt late, but heaven writes in arrivals, not comparisons. You once felt small, but keys are small and they move iron doors. You once felt ignored, yet the vault never blinked once while watching for you. When the lock turns, you will feel a click in your spirit. It will sound like relief, and it will taste like steel becoming honey. You will understand that waiting was weight training for your influence. People who dismissed you will revisit their vocabulary. They will search for new words that do not include mockery. They will learn that humility looks like wealth that refuses to gloat. Do not rehearse loss while standing at gain. Do not count the stones that hurt your feet while holding the shoes of destiny. Do not apologize for answers that came at full volume. The vault is legal in heaven's court and lawful on earth's paper. It carries documentation written in favor of the brave and the honest. It bears stamps that cannot be forged by envy. You were not chosen because you are perfect, you were chosen because you are aligned. Alignment is not spotless, alignment is surrendered. Alignment is the art of aiming your heart where your help comes from. $440 million is the headline but not the whole story. The story is that you learned stewardship while you were counting pennies. The story is that your values refused discount pricing. Every fortune has a voice, and this one speaks fluent integrity. It declares payrolls paid on time and promises kept in full. It declares neighborhoods repaired and futures mentored into shape. Listen for the soft instructions that accompany large releases. They will tell you which door is first, which signature is second, and which answer is final. They will show you where to plant so the harvest travels beyond you. You will be tempted to announce everything loudly. Resist the need for noise and choose the power of sequence. Let your results speak a language that cannot be interrupted. Create a sanctuary for decisions before the vault breathes open. It could be a chair by a window or a corner that holds your focus. Let that place become the command center where clarity sits and nods. In that place, write 3 promises you will keep to your future self. Promise to remain generous without theater. Promise to remain teachable while leading. Your name will be tested by invitations disguised as opportunities. If an offer requires you to shrink your soul, it is not a partner. If a deal demands your silence against injustice, it is not a covenant. The vault favors builders over hoarders. Builders multiply meaning while multiplying resources. Builders see capital as water, not a pond. You will help roofs become homes and ideas become employers. You will help classrooms become launchpads and talents become livelihoods. You will help widows and elders breathe easier than the month before. The countdown is the kindness that prevents drift. It focuses your attention like a lens catching fire from the sun. It asks you to be present in the minute that matters. You can feel the rhythm of 30 minutes tapping your wrist. Every second is a bead on the rosary of readiness. Every breath is a quietly spoken yes. There is a signature you will place that carries generational weight. It will bless descendants you have not met and heal memories you did not create. It will close a story of scarcity and open a new chapter with bright margins. Expect one final glare from doubt. It will bring a memory that used to stop you and offer it as evidence again. Smile at it like an old acquaintance and keep walking. Your helpers will appear with ordinary faces and extraordinary precision. Some will be clerks who point you to the exact window at the exact time. Some will be advisors who protect you from shiny traps by naming them. The vault will not open to a crowded room of opinions. It opens to the rightful steward, steady and clear. It opens to the voice that matches the receipt written in heaven. Guard your calm like a gated garden. Calm is the oxygen that keeps wisdom awake. Calm is the proof that fear is not your mentor. Remember the day you refused to betray your values for applause. That day placed a golden bookmark in heaven's ledger next to your name. That bookmark is being pulled now to open the page of release. You will notice timing miracles like green lights lining a boulevard. Documents will find the right desk as if summoned. Emails will carry yes in their subtext before you read them. A phone call will bring the final alignment. You will hear relief in the voice that delivers it. You will feel completion rise like sunrise behind your ribs. When the door moves, the metal will sound ancient and new at once. Ancient because promise preceded you, and new because fulfillment just arrived. You will know that the sound belongs to you. Breathe and allow gratitude to be your first action. Let it travel ahead of you into rooms you will enter next. Gratitude is the fragrance that makes favor feel at home. The vault will yield instruction as well as provision. Honor the instruction like treasure because it multiplies treasure. Treat advice like a seed that expects light and water. Do not argue with abundance by replaying scarcity. Speak truth to your nervous system and tell it the drought ended. Invite your body to participate in the celebration of enough. You will feel a tenderness toward those who doubted you. Let that tenderness become wise boundaries, not invitations to chaos. Mercy is not the same as permission, and you know the difference now. An old contract may try to wake up and claim jurisdiction. You carry a higher court order and it carries peace in its ink. Hold it calmly and repeat the terms with authority. The vault will test your generosity quietly. It will watch how you treat small requests while holding great capacity. It will nod when your kindness refuses to perform for cameras. Your household will feel the weather change. Arguments that began in lack will run out of script. Rooms will breathe and laughter will sound like new paint drying. Give your future a schedule, not a guess. Wealth without rhythm leaks into distractions. Wealth with rhythm becomes a river through many fields. Choose advisors who can tell you the truth without trembling. Choose counsel that values your soul more than your signature. Choose partners who celebrate boundaries as protection, not obstacles. You will meet a mentor whose map fits your mission. They will speak in frameworks that match your instincts. They will save you 5 years with a paragraph. Honor the pathways that led you here. Thank the version of you who kept going on tired days. Bless the silence that grew roots under your courage. You are about to hear your full name pronounced correctly by destiny. It will not shorten you or misplace you. It will announce you the way light announces morning. The vault is opening because cycles have completed. Wheels inside wheels have turned and locked in favor. Your waiting became a scaffold for this exact unveiling. Receive so you can redistribute wisely. Hold so you can hand over with strategy. Multiply so you can mend what poverty tried to break. A letter will arrive that confirms what your spirit already knew. It will be straightforward, clear, and final. It will close debates and open instructions. In the wake of this release, keep your joy anchored quietly. Let your celebrations be clean and your circles be trusted. Let your kindness be precise and your no be strong. You are not at the mercy of envy anymore. You are not auditioning for rooms where purpose is misunderstood. You are not requiring permission to honor your assignment. Remember to rest as a discipline, not a reward. Rest is where renewal signs the back of your checks. Rest is where clarity wakes up and asks for breakfast. Your voice will carry differently from today. It will sound like someone who has nothing to prove and everything to build. It will sound like a promise that learned its own volume. The vault will open and close with you inside its blessing. You will walk out carrying more than money, you will carry mandate. You will walk out taller because burden left and responsibility arrived. Let generosity be creative. Let impact be measured not just by totals, but by transformations. Let gratitude keep your decisions warm when pressure tries to make them cold. The enemies of your soul will lose interest where they once circled. They cannot feed on abundance without purpose. They cannot manipulate a schedule that follows sacred timing. Keep archives of lessons as carefully as archives of receipts. Track wisdom like assets because wisdom is leverage. Track peace like equity because peace compounds. Your name will appear in rooms without you and it will carry honor. Doors will open quietly, and that quiet will be your signature. Influence will travel farther than announcements because integrity has legs. Stand still for a moment and feel the hinge turning. Allow relief to land like a bird that finally trusts your hand. Welcome the future that arrived on time even when you felt late. The 30 minutes are almost complete and nothing essential has been missed. Everything necessary is now within reach and reaching back. This is your unveiling and it is irreversible. When you step across, do not look back for permission slips. You already carry authority for what comes next. Your task is simple: steward joyfully, decide wisely, love fiercely. The vault is open to your name and closed to your fear. The ledger is satisfied and the release is active. Walk forward like someone who understands how history changes in a day. Build a table long enough for new alliances to sit and plan. Build a timeline that honors both speed and sequence. Build a legacy that speaks fluently to children not yet born. Keep your hands clean so everything they touch can flourish. Keep your words exact so agreements are safe inside them. Keep your heart soft so power never hardens it. You will sleep without the old alarms. You will wake with vision that rises before the sun. You will move with balance because you learn to move with meaning. The vault knows your name and the door knows your footsteps. The moment knows your courage and the future knows your face. Go now and collect what was always meant to meet you here. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Continuity moves like a hush through a grand hall of memory. The air holds the taste of metal and morning as the vault breathes its cold promise. Your footsteps are steady drums that remind the future it has arrived. A thin line of light draws itself along the seam of the door. It widens as if certainty itself is a craftsman and you are its client. Gears that sleep for decades turn awake and perform their single purpose. Inside, the room is larger than arithmetic and quieter than envy. Shelves of sealed ledgers recognize your presence the way a tide recognizes moonlight. Every ledger is a biography of endurance that ends with a signature of release. A desk waits beneath a hanging lamp that glows like disciplined hope. On the desk sits a narrow case, black as midnight and obedient as law. You open it and the documents look back at you with the calm of a final answer. The first page tells you how the wealth was routed through seasons that sharpened you. It lists storms you outlived and lessons you learned until your hands were steady. It closes with a statement so simple it feels like a bell that never lies. Signatures flow from you like a river that always wanted a wider bed. Ink dries into authority while your heartbeat slows into mastery. The room respects your pace because haste is for those who doubt arrival. You lay out the next steps with the precision of a cartographer. A foundation for impact rises in your imagination like scaffolding under a dawn. You open channels where kindness becomes structure and generosity becomes strategy. People who suffered in silence will feel a temperature change. Bills that stalked families will lose their chase and fade into irrelevance. Classrooms will receive instruments, books, and doors that stay open after daylight. You draft guardrails for your peace as carefully as budgets for your projects. Every boundary is a doorframe where manipulation cannot pass. Every yes is measured against the promise that chose you when you were unseen. A trusted advisor joins you with a portfolio of wisdom rather than applause. They speak in sentences that carry benchmarks and calm. Together you select pathways that turn wealth into weather that nourishes many fields. Your first initiative builds shelter that does not shame those who enter. Bedrooms hold quiet power because safety teaches the nervous system to sing again. Kitchens become laboratories where dignity and bread rise together. Another initiative breathes into small businesses that survived on grit and prayer. Loans become mentorship and mentorship becomes momentum. Receipts turn into stories where parents return home before the youngest child sleeps. You allocate resources for medical relief that treats bodies like libraries. Clinics that once whispered scarcity now hum with clean tools and skilled hands. Waiting rooms lose their despair and grow windows in their walls. Art is not forgotten because beauty rebuilds what numbers cannot reach. Studios open in neighborhoods where silence used to feel heavy. Murals go up like declarations that color belongs to the people again. You set aside a reserve you will not touch unless purpose requires it. This reserve is a fortress against panic and a tutor for patience. It allows decisions to age into wisdom before they are signed. Security becomes a choreography where caution walks with calm. You shield your household without letting fear collect interest. You choose discretion that honors celebration rather than hiding it. The vault records each decision and nods with mechanical kindness. It knows that a steward's power is measured by consistency more than moments. It knows that routine is the quiet palace where outcomes sleep at night. A memory visits you from the season when you almost surrendered the dream. It arrives like an old photograph that no longer hurts to hold. You bless that version of yourself for refusing the cheap exit. Messages begin to arrive with opportunities that smell like smoke. They promise quick wins while hiding clauses that bite. Your discernment sees through the glitter and files those invitations under never. Mentors remind you that overflow without structure is a flood. You build channels that are wide, deep, and honest. They carry benefit without washing away the villages they cross. Your calendar receives an audit where fatigue once hid. You assign rest the dignity of a line item and a locked door. You choose margins because brilliance breathes better with space. Relationships undergo their own clarity ceremony. Some friends step closer with a quiet competence that steadies the table. Others drift without drama because their chapter did what it could and ends with peace. The first public impact lands and the city exhales. Reporters search for angles while numbers tell their own story. Families feel the ground firm under their feet, and that testimony is better than headlines. You teach your team the difference between urgency and frenzy. Urgency is a sprint with a mapped route. Frenzy is a sprint without a finish line, and it never belongs in your house. Contracts are written in language that honors all parties. Fine print becomes honest print, and the room notices the relief. Agreements feel like handshakes that mean it, even after cameras go home. You create a scholarship that chooses potential over polish. Applications ask for grit, tenderness, and vision in motion. Graduations become reunions where gratitude brings durable joy. A rural project plans a solar grid that refuses to collapse in monsoon months. Panels stand like quiet soldiers on rooftops that no longer fear the dark. Electricity stops being a luxury and becomes a neighbor that keeps promises. The vault whispers another instruction that sounds like a compass clearing its throat. It sends you to a region where storms tried to erase entire genealogies. You go with engineers, counselors, and builders who understand that healing is plural. There, you restore wells that forgot the taste of clean water. Pumps move like music and children learn the sound of relief. Mothers rest their shoulders and look 10 years younger in a week. A technology lab opens in a building that used to be a warehouse for dust. Laptops glow above stools where doubt once sat. Ideas learn to stand on their own feet and hire their own lunch. You invest in storytellers who can document victory with dignity. They capture eyes that are bright but not performative. They archive progress so memory can teach the next season without shame. A letter from an elder arrives with handwriting that steadies your breath. It blesses your restraint in a world that worships applause. It thanks you for building things that will matter after the current fashion sleeps. Night comes without the old sirens racing in your head. Moonlight passes over plans stacked neatly like bricks. Your sleep is deep because integrity set a watch at your door. Morning carries a list that already feels accomplished because momentum is your ally. Teams check in with clarity and check out with satisfaction. Problems appear, but they are small enough to be called by name and solved. You mentor new stewards the way you wish you had been mentored. You tell them that character is a bridge that never collapses under abundance. You show them how to hold a signature like a promise to strangers. Philanthropy and enterprise shake hands and agree to walk together. Jobs grow from projects so dignity can purchase its own groceries. Communities move from dependence to partnership and the music changes. A second vault exists that is not made of steel. It is the trust the people place in your leadership. You maintain it by choosing transparency where secrecy once ruled. You build a culture of measurable kindness. Metrics sit beside stories so both head and heart can agree. Audits become celebrations because they prove what everyone felt. Investment committees meet in rooms with windows, not shadows. They weigh risk with wisdom and return with responsibility. They select companies that heal while they scale. An agricultural program gives farmers leverage against weather and markets. Seeds arrive on time and training turns guesswork into craft. Barns fill without debt and futures stop apologizing for being bright. Artisans find a marketplace that respects the patience in their hands. Fair pricing turns skill into schooling and rent paid before the month ends. Craft carries the scent of survival turned into legacy. You explore a healthcare partnership that writes protocols in human language. Consent is honored like a signature carved in oak. Clinicians receive support so compassion can survive long shifts. Legal teams defend what you build without breaking what you love. They speak softly but carry clauses that keep wolves outside. They prefer prevention to litigation, and that choice saves more than money. You visit the first building you opened and hear laughter in the stairwell. Paint holds its color because maintenance is funded, not begged. A janitor greets you by first name, and that greeting means the plan is working. The vault appears in your mind's eye whenever you veer from your north. It reminds you of the cold air that smelled like new metal and final answers. It reminds you of the moment the lock yielded because your name fit. You learn to celebrate quietly and continuously. Small milestones receive gratitude so the big ones do not carry pressure alone. Your joy becomes steady enough to outlast trends. A young leader brings a proposal that is raw but honest. You see your earlier self in their eyes and decide to invest with mentorship attached. 3 years later they return with a result that silences every room in the best way. You prepare for seasons where growth slows by choice, not by fear. You prune activities that drink water without bearing fruit. You keep the tree strong because you care about winters as much as summers. The board meets and the agenda fits on a single page. Numbers are clean, goals are alive, and morale is not a mystery. You end on time with energy left for evening. Your home learns the rhythm of a leader who does not outsource presence. Meals are unhurried and laughter lands without checking clocks. Love becomes a Sabbath that happens every day for a few minutes at least. You chart a 10-year plan that reads like a vow to the common good. It includes exits that protect dignity and entries that welcome excellence. It includes succession because legacy is a relay, not a pedestal. New cities invite you to replicate the model with their own heartbeat. You travel with teams who listen before they design. Local builders teach you the texture of streets and the rhythm of markets. An annual gathering convenes the partners who make the work possible. Farmers sit beside coders and nurses sit beside architects. Panels sound like honest kitchens where solutions are cooked, not performed. Your private practice remains intact because wealth did not bend your spine. You still journal in the morning when the room is just light and air. You still thank the silence that raised you when applause had no address for you. A final audit of the year arrives with figures that are both generous and precise. They tell a story of movement that looks like healing written in numbers. They confirm that stewardship is not a headline but a habit. You visit the vault once more to close the loop with respect. It feels smaller now because you grew into the size of the promise. You touch the door and it feels warm like a hand that trusts you back. Leaving, you understand that abundance is a language you now speak without shouting. You understand that building is your form of gratitude. You understand that legacy is a daily craft, and today you practiced well. The road outside carries ordinary traffic and extraordinary future. You merge with a calm that no longer negotiates with panic. You drive toward the work that waits with the patience of mountains. Evening falls and the city lights come on like a standing ovation. You breathe and remember the countdown that once pressed against your ribs. Now the clock is your colleague because you honored the window when it opened. The people who said your dream was too heavy now notice it flies. They see that wings grew where weights used to sit. They watch in quiet respect as your projects land and lift others in turn. Your daily rituals keep the machine human. You greet the staff by name and they greet you by trust. Culture becomes the most valuable asset because it keeps multiplying itself. When obstacles appear, you meet them with the humor of someone unafraid. Problems lose a size when laughter refuses to leave the room. Teams work better when confidence has manners and power has empathy. A letter from a child arrives with a drawing of a building you built. The windows are colored like candy and the door has a smile. You pin it on a wall because that is the kind of report that matters. You mentor a city official who wants to lead without losing sleep. You share your notes on balance that feels like truth in motion. They adopt the posture of patience and the metrics improve by sunrise. Your elders bless you again and the blessing feels like clean rain. It slides down the spine of your legacy and into the roots of your work. Trees planted this year will shade laughter you will not need to supervise. You set your eyes on the next horizon without despising today. The method stays the same even when the numbers grow new faces. Clarity continues to be your compass and compassion continues to be your fuel. At night you hold the pen that started this chapter and smile. Ink remembers the hand that guided it without shaking. Pages remember the courage that let them be written. You do not chase proof because results keep knocking at the door. You do not chase applause because gratitude keeps filling the room. You do not chase relevance because purpose is your permanent address. The vault that opened became a classroom where you learned the height of responsibility. It also became a mirror where you saw yourself as you truly are. That reflection is steady now and it will carry you forward with grace. Morning returns and the plan breathes like a well-tuned instrument. Partners check their tasks and communities check their harvest. Your heart checks its peace and finds it awake, unafraid, and ready. The work continues as promise grows into architecture you can walk through. The city changes its posture and the people change their sentences. A new normal arrives and it includes dignity as a daily thing. You accept that destiny is not a single door but a corridor of faithful choices. You accept that wealth is loudest when it funds quiet solutions. You accept that this life is the right size for your calling. The story that began with 30 minutes now measures time in generations. You end your day the way you began it, aligned and grateful. The vault sleeps with a satisfied hinge while your legacy hums like sunrise. The second year of your stewardship begins without the noise of novelty. Systems hum because people know where to stand and what to do. The work carries its own gravity and you move inside it with ease. A governance charter sits on your desk like a compass in a wooden box. It defines decision lanes so emergencies never impersonate priorities. It clarifies who says yes, who monitors yes, and who learns from yes. You invest in talent the way farmers read the sky before planting. Profiles are chosen for integrity, endurance, and teachable brilliance. Salaries are fair on paper and generous in culture. A cybersecurity wall is built long before anyone thinks to test it. Threat models are rehearsed until confidence becomes muscle memory. Recovery protocols are printed, sealed, and stored where panic cannot reach. Your foundation opens an institute for practical hope. The curriculum merges entrepreneurship with ethics like steel welded to oak. Graduates leave with a portable dignity that pays dividends across decades. Local councils invite your team to co-create policy that scales. You send listeners first and builders second. Design sessions begin with the sentence that people use to describe their own lives. Archangel Michael says your name is safe inside the work you are doing. He says your schedule is now a sanctuary where purpose keeps time. He says the vault continues to open in new forms because you chose responsibility over spectacle. A climate resilience portfolio takes shape in regions that need precision. Mangroves are restored where coastlines ache for patient roots. Rainwater harvesting becomes architecture, not afterthought. You pilot a program that turns rooftops into energy fields. Tenants feel the bill soften and the planet notices the kindness. Children learn electronics from panels that purr like content cats. Your health initiative expands into preventative care that respects culture. Community workers translate medicine into customs that make sense. Outcomes improve because understanding replaces suspicion. You establish a revolving fund for women-led enterprises. Applications are short, mentorship is long, and interest is kind. Success returns to the pool like a river refilling its own source. A storytelling unit documents impact with the delicacy of archivists. They record failures beside triumphs so the record can teach without vanity. Transparency makes trust breathe easier in every meeting. A microjustice program pairs legal clinics with financial coaching. People learn to read contracts the way musicians read notes. Predatory clauses retire early because they cannot survive daylight. A city asks you to renovate a shuttered factory into a skills campus. The floor plan becomes a map of genuine opportunity. Welding stations, textile labs, code studios, and food science kitchens share one heartbeat. Graduates sign job offers that respect weekends and honor holidays. They walk out with protective gear in one hand and pride in the other. Paychecks arrive on time and confidence arrives even earlier. You host quarterly forums where residents grade your performance. Comments are direct and the panel answers without defensiveness. Mistakes are scheduled for correction rather than buried under charm. The arts program commissions a traveling exhibit called Quiet Wealth. It features simple tools, clean ledgers, and faces that look rested. Visitors leave with the sense that prosperity is a discipline, not a spectacle. You publish an annual letter that reads like a map rather than a speech. Every claim has a number and every number has a story. Stakeholders finish it with the relief of being told the truth. A drought threatens a region you serve and the alert arrives at dawn. Logistics spin up with a choreography that feels practiced and warm. Trucks roll, wells open, and kitchens convert into nutrition hubs by evening. During crisis, you insist on radical clarity. No one improvises rules and no one hoards information. The chain of command works without stepping on the chain of care. A financial quarter surprises you with a surplus created by discipline. You refuse mission creep and assign the surplus to reserves and resilience. Strategic patience grows interest that fears no headline. Archangel Michael says your restraint is armor and your kindness is a key. He says interruptions will try to impersonate invitations. He says you will know them by the way they ask you to abandon your governance. You create a sanctuary schedule every morning before screens wake. It includes breath, stillness, and the day's 3 hardest truths. By noon those truths have turned into decisions that carry their own courage. A diaspora council forms to link communities across oceans. Remittances become investment vehicles that build schools and clinics. Culture travels with money so identity grows instead of dissolving. Your team launches a platform where local founders share playbooks. Templates remove guesswork and feedback eliminates old mistakes. Acceleration feels humane because burnout is not on the menu. A publishing imprint releases manuals for responsible abundance. Chapters unfold like field notes that anyone can use. Sales fund free editions in places that most need them. You open a contemplative retreat for frontline workers who carry heavy stories. Therapists guide recovery without making heroism a burden. People return to duty with eyes that have learned how to rest. A youth orchestra rehearses in a hall you restored from dust. Violins learn patience and drums learn harmony. Neighborhoods hear themselves in music and remember they are families. A coalition of mayors sends you a letter of thanks that reads like a promise. They list parks reopened, buses on time, and streetlights that stay honest. They ask for your framework, not your spotlight. Your investment arm backs a materials startup that cuts waste in half. Factory floors become cleaner and margins become kinder. Supply chains breathe because friction left the room. You mentor financiers who want to solve hard problems without breaking people. They learn to model joy as part of return. They learn to price risk without taxing the powerless. A ceremonial day arrives for the first cohort of your institute. Caps tilt, hands clap, and parents cry the good kind of tears. The job board empties because every name finds a landing. A former skeptic joins your board after touring the work without cameras. He admits that consistency converted him where charm could not. He becomes a fierce guardian of what the culture protects. You rethink philanthropy as infrastructure rather than rescue. Bridges stand where handouts used to wobble. Timelines lengthen and the outcomes stop evaporating. A quiet evening drive brings you back to the first vault in memory. You park without ceremony and walk the corridor like a sacred hallway. The air still tastes like cool metal and an old oath. Inside, the door waits with a presence that respects your silence. You place your palm on steel and feel the hum of purpose. You remember that destiny met you here with instructions dressed as light. The vault does not open because it never closed to your calling. It remains an altar to disciplined generosity. It remains a library of every yes that built a better street. You write a note to your future successor and leave it in a sealed envelope. You tell them that courage without humility becomes noise. You tell them that humility without courage becomes delay. Archangel Michael says the letter will arrive at the right hands on the right morning. He says leadership is a river that does not end with one boat. He says the current will carry the mission because its source is higher than fashion. Your household gathers for a simple meal that would taste good in any decade. Laughter lands easily and stories travel without pretense. The table holds what money cannot counterfeit. A storm knocks out power across the district, but your systems hold. Microgrids hum and community centers glow like dependable stars. People charge phones, boil water, and share soup under honest light. The crisis team sends you a message that sounds like competence. No drama, just executed plans and documented lessons. You reply with gratitude and go right back to rest. A poet writes lines about your city that make architects nod. They describe streets where dignity walks like a neighbor. They describe mornings that feel like mercy learning to commute. You greenlight an apprenticeship track for returning citizens. Skills replace stigma and checks replace chains. Supervisors learn to lead with standards that include second chances. A rural hospital receives the equipment it needed for years. Surgeries proceed with instruments that make precision more than a wish. Families stop pacing hallways because outcomes arrive in time. Your team practices succession through small handovers every month. Responsibilities rotate without dropping glass. Confidence spreads because power is not hoarded. A journalist asks how you sustain this pace without shattering. You show them a calendar filled with margins and non-negotiable stillness. They realize that longevity is engineered, not lucked. A continent away, a village graduates from your water program. Children run with buckets for the joy of running, not for survival. Mothers wear new laughter as if it were jewelry. Archangel Michael says the work is writing its own hymn in ordinary hours. He says your choices have tuned instruments in homes you will never visit. He says the music will outlive every spreadsheet. You host an annual audit festival where teams present their numbers like stories. Errors are confessed, corrected, and catalogued as lessons. Confidence grows because truth and improvement walk together. An unexpected downturn tests the architecture of your piece. You tighten sails without cutting the mast. You keep every promise that touches a child's night of sleep. Partners notice that your restraint is steadier than their fear. They copy your plan and see that calm can be learned. Markets wobble, but your mission does not. You invest in soil, not just seeds. Regenerative farming returns life to tired fields. Earth responds with gratitude that you can taste. A pilot transforms vacant lots into microparks. Benches appear where loneliness used to stand. Shade trees teach the afternoon how to be kind. You meet with elders to design rituals that welcome wealth without losing soul. Ceremonies mark milestones with meaning rather than performance. Children grow up understanding that giving is a family tradition. A litigation attempt arrives from an old shadow that prefers chaos. Your counsel answers with documents that carry both kindness and spine. The storm spends itself and the path clears without spectacle. Your personal practice adds a weekly hour called Relearn. You study one assumption and test it against evidence. Ego loosens its grip and wisdom tightens its embrace. A museum exhibit on stewardship features your frameworks as living artifacts. Visitors press buttons and see how choices ripple across neighborhoods. Young minds leave with the itch to build. You remember the first 3 signatures that began this chapter. They looked small on paper and enormous in consequence. You smile at how ink can move mountains when character holds the pen. Archangel Michael says the horizon is still writing your name in quiet lines. He says new assignments will arrive folded into familiar routines. He says you will recognize them by the feeling of peace that increases capacity. The board votes to expand to 3 new regions with measured confidence. Local partners are chosen for integrity that survived scarcity. A deliberate timeline keeps excellence ahead of scale. An innovation challenge invites solutions from the people who live the problem. Winning ideas sound humble and work beautifully. Budgets align and pilots start without delay. You commission a study on the long arc of the first neighborhood you served. Data shows rising graduation rates, falling emergency visits, and durable small businesses. Residents report feeling seen, which is the metric that hides inside all others. A graduation speech asks for your closing words and you oblige with brevity. You tell them to build their calendars before their empires. You tell them to hire character, not charisma. You return home to a desk that holds nothing urgent. The lamp glows like a friend and the window outlines a faithful skyline. Sleep arrives without bargaining. Morning arrives with a letter postmarked from a school you funded early on. A teacher writes that a child who once hid now helps others pronounce their dreams. You fold the letter and place it where gratitude can see it. Your life continues as a workshop where mercy and strategy collaborate. The vault that began this chapter remains open as a verb, not a noun. The city grows into its better posture and the world learns from its stance. Archangel Michael says keep your hands steady and your heart soft. He says you were trusted with weight because you trained your spine with truth. He says the door you walked through will keep opening for those you lift next.